For nearly my entire life, I've been obese and I've struggled to lose weight. Just as a recent, I got down to a satisfying weight that I liked, and I was just comfortable enough to bulk. Oof, yeah, no. Good gains, but let's shed some of that off. Today, I'll be going over how to cut effectively by showing you things I did, ate, practiced, and more during my mini cut this year. I lost 100 pounds over my fat loss journey and then gained some muscle back, subsequently some fat. This is natural, especially for how quickly I bulked. And of course, water weight is a big player when it comes to weight. You'll hear me mention it quite a few times actually during this video. The first is the way you handle your exercise. While it may sound good, just like spam uphill running for hours and do excessive cardio, there may be catabolic effects. Unlike how some people suggest, it's not due to overall cardio, it's actually due to stress and strain on your body, especially since your recovery time is straight buns while cutting. Not saying you shouldn't do cardio, as it's shown to have a slew of health benefits when done correctly. I mean, first of all, let's get the obvious out of the way that it creates like a bigger deficit, which is kind of the goal here. If you pair it well with weight training, we'll be talking about here in a moment, it's even better. Before I get into the food sides of weight loss, weight training is all the fun part. First of all, let's get the correlation between high volume and more toned muscles, quote unquote, out of the way. Because complete bull, There's no such thing as toned muscles, bulky muscles, and first of all, there's just people with more or less muscle mass and as well as more or less fat, so that's where the deviations come in. Second, not to ride the nipper train, but when looking at studies from his new video, it's shown, due to recovery time being slumped, it's generally recommended to do less volume while losing weight. More or less, I just focused on doing a few very good sets, with moderate to high reps due to the higher prone of injury risk while cutting. Don't forget that as long as you're going within proximity of failure, that's the only part of exercise that actually promotes muscle growth. Or well, hanging on in cutting's case. Now, what's the most important part of cutting? Cutting calories. Virtually, you have to be in a caloric deficit to lose weight. There's no way to lose or gain weight, good or bad, without tracking your calories and putting them into play. You have a certain amount of calories you roughly burn a day. We'll get to that in a moment. If you eat more than that, you'll gain weight. Same with the opposite, being if you ate less than you need to maintain, you'll lose overall tissue. So what does this mean? First, your metabolism, quote unquote, being what you burn in a day, which is made up of 4 items. What you burn while existing, what you burn doing non-exercise activity, think walking, talking, fidgeting, blinking, typing. I see you, editor Robert. And yeah, the third thing is what you intentionally do as exercise. This is actually the biggest variable into play, as this isn't that great when looking at overall charts. Yeah, it's the only one you really can change on a day-to-day. Also, you also burn like digesting food, but it's like not that great. Let's use me as an example. My maintenance is roughly perfectly 3,000 calories. Here during my cut, my calories range, but I generally ate about 2,250. Odd number you'll see in a moment. I ate every day in a deficit of 750 calories, but what does that actually mean? Well, that means over a course of a week, I'll have ate 5,250 calories less than I need to maintain my weight, effectively losing me 1.5 pounds. This is because it takes roughly 3,500 calories, or the lack thereof, to make or lose 1 pound of body weight off your body, if that makes any sense. But where are those calories coming from? Macros. Protein, carbs, fats are the 3 essential macros that make up the compositions of the food you eat. Every gram of protein you eat equates to about 4 calories, and same with carbs, although fats are about 9 calories per carb, or 9 calories per gram. Not saying to not eat fat. Fats are essential for hormones and function, yet protein is also essential for literally keeping muscle mass. What about carbs? They're kind of disposable. Your brain functions off of glucose. Glycogen, yeah, whatever. You can't throw any of them away. What do? Balanced diet, people. I don't get all of these freaking crash diets, just balanced diet, boom. While cutting, eat more protein to keep muscle, eat fats to keep your good hormones, and fill in the gaps with carbs, because they're generally a little more expendable, I guess, but now there's all this science, but no actual helpful real-world advice. So what would I recommend to get shredded? So first, I avoid sugary drinks and processed sugars in general. They get a lot of hate for being bad for you. Well, they technically are more digestible, making them really easy to get down. That's kind of what makes them bad. The thing is that calorie-dense meals make you crave more of it. It leads to a bad cycle. So yeah, cola, I'd switch to diet. Actually switch to zero, because zero tastes better. Next, this might surprise you. One of the things I did was to avoid nuts. Aren't they healthy? Well, yeah, that's kind of the issue. They're packed with a healthy serving of fat. Well, great for bulking because they're super duper good for you, like I'll say that. It's easy to overconsume them by a lot. But like, what do you mean that's 200 freaking calories of nuts right there? A good peanut butter substitute was just to say like PB2. Boom, there we go. Same with the oils. While tasty, just get in the lower calorie version, which is like oil spray in this case. And finally, you need to avoid any processed foods that will make you keep coming back. This includes calorie-dense items. Think addicting candies, cereals, McDonald's, for instance. And we're not counting Olive Garden because I'm not cutting that out. Now, skewing away from my negativity, what should you eat? Well, in my opinion, anything's on the table as long as you actually hit your protein and calorie goal. Specifically, some of the low-calorie foods I like to eat while dieting, not saying all of them are healthy, just low-calorie, are non-fat Greek yogurt. Super high in protein, and Greek yogurt bowls are like crazy for some odd reason. Sugar-free syrup. Why sweeten things naturally when you could do it with for like 5 calories? Normal syrup is like 60. At some point, who even cares about weird chemicals? Carb-smart bread, tortillas, pasta, and whatever companies combining chemicals to making food so low-calorie needs to be the forefront of society. I mean, 400 calories for a box of spaghetti. Are you serious? That's crazy. Creamies. Same with the Ninja Company. Whoever came up with the Ninja Creamy, I will personally marry. This thing is so good, you can make low-calorie and high-protein healthy ice cream. Ice cream. There we go. Veggies. I mean, they're kind of just amazing and low-calorie for you. I mean, like spinach, lettuce, bean sprouts, anything that adds volume for like no calories. That being said, potatoes and carrots, while aren't as lower calorie, are still great just because they're like tasty. Popcorn. How does it work? I don't care. But should I? It's a salty, buttery treat for so little calories. Sure, does it take you a while to eat the entire freaking thing? It's not what matters, it's the fact that you're keeping your mouth busy. Just all that matters in my case. Certain sugar-free products. Well, a lot of them are just scams to get you to pay $3 extra. Again, some of them are a lot more useful. Again, soda. There's also syrup, sugar-free Hershey syrup, that's so good. Splenda, jam, there's also like good alternatives to that. Soups, certain, because there are quite a few high-calorie soups. As long as you stay away from heavily potatoes, cheesy, buttery, bacon, noodle soups, as long as you keep it to super filling, even super low calorie ones, you should be fine. So I guess don't eat a cheesy, bacon, potatoey, buttery noodle soup. Sounds super good though, admittingly. And raspberries, not because they're low calorie, but they're like yummy. And that brings up a good point, because they're packed with fiber. Anything packed with fiber is kind of like already good for dieting. And so what's the moral? Rounding out the video, let's go over the final crucial details that will make or break the diet. First, that you don't stick to it, you'll not lose weight. That's what I value, consistency over overall effort. The second is, the weight doesn't actually matter as much as people think. For instance, someone may look good, lower, or higher. For example, I look weird anything under 200 pounds, yet I have a friend who steps over 160 and looks odd. The third is, you can make anything up on people and they'll believe it. Look at the thumbnail on the left, 215. Do you really think I look like that at that weight? How about now? What about that? What about that? Don't inherently trust anything anyone says just because they look good or bad. People can make stuff up, and in my case, that's kind of the exact opposite of what I was doing because I was like puffing out my stomach to make it look big, but whatever. And finally, the fourth is don't underestimate water weight. Boom, round out to the video. Let's be honest, did I really lose 15 pounds of fat in a month? No. Although I did lose some good gain some good progress. And as we're rounding this out, realize if you don't have a purpose for those, you can go check out different meal preps with different purposes, where I go over meal preps in different categories, including cutting and bulking. So, cutting for this video. Click it. Thank you all for watching. I hope you join me again, and I'll see you another time, my friend. Exercise, calories, macros, specific foods, and lack. Final tips, period. Maybe if I finally lock in